interview, it's a conversation. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. You're an adult. You know, everybody in this room, you're adults. Why give up being a qualified, professional, intelligent, knowledgeable adult when you go into an interview? You know, people will come. I've talked to hundreds of people. So, in fact, there was just a guy who went for an interview, and they said to him he was going a little bit of a job change. He was going to I don't know where he was coming from. He was going to education, into a school, and they said to him, "Do you know HRIS or HSMN or whatever it was?" And he didn't know what it was. So it was an acronym. And he didn't know what it was. And he just kind of lost. I mean, he didn't lose it, but I mean, the anxiety level goes way up, thinking goes down. I mean, all that stuff happens when you get anxious. I said, "Well, did you ask him what it was?" "No." "Why not?" "Well, do you do that stuff in an interview?" "Yeah, absolutely. You're an adult. You're in a conversation. Someone throws an acronym at you." So he went home and he Googled it. He said, "Oh, so that's what it is. I know about that stuff. I just didn't know what the acronym meant." But people do that over and over again in an interview. They ask you a question, and then you go into a panic mode because you don't have the answer. Ask about it. Right? Or even say, how would you handle that? We're in a conversation. You're an adult, I'm an adult. Let's talk to each other. It's all about them. One of the basics is, when you're in an interview, it's all about them. So you're not talking about yourself and how this job's going to benefit you. It's all about how it's going to benefit them. So why do you want to work here? It's a shorter commute. It's more money. It's a good career move. And none of that stuff. You want to work at that company because your background and your skills can contribute to the success of that company. Okay, you're a salesperson. Right? So if I'm buying a car from you, you're not going to say to me, "Hey, Eric, I really like to buy this car because my family needs to go on vacation. And if I don't sell this car, which is my 100th car of the month, I'm just not going on vacation, so please buy this car." That's not like, that's not the sales process, right? The same thing on the job search, same thing in an interview. You're focusing on what is of benefit to them. So again, even when you talk about salary, the salary question comes at the end. You don't talk about that, or vacation time, or benefits, or any of that stuff. That comes when they make the job offer. But what you want to do is you want to focus on them. Be positive. Always. Okay? Now, people know this. They say, I've read the books. I know I'm not supposed to complain about my old employer. And I need to be positive about them. But people get caught in places they're not aware of. Right? So I was driving over to the interview, and I got caught in a traffic jam. And my air conditioner broke down. "So how was your ride over?" The traffic was unbelievable on 309. And I can't believe it was 90 degrees out, my air conditioner wasn't working. That's negative stuff. How was your ride over? It was fine. Now, I don't have to lie and say it was good. But I define it as fine. I got here on time. That's how I define a fine ride. My ride was fine. Okay. The other thing that people make mistakes on is they let their guard down. In fact, I just wrote a blog entry. I read a blog, by the way, called Interview Your Best. I just wrote a blog entry on you need to stay in the interview. What this means is that if the interview is going well, at times they'll say to you, how about if I take you on a tour of the office? Or, how about if you go look at the factory? People let down. They get up from the office and they walk out. You're still in the interview. So what will happen is they'll walk through a factory and they'll say, "Oh, I can't believe you got this machine. This is great. Last place I was working, the machines were old, they were antiquated, and they were like breaking down all the time." Negative. Right? It doesn't seem like it is, but that's a negative comment about your last employer. So you want to stay positive all the time about everything. Think about it. You don't want to be around negative people. You don't want to hire negative people. Answer with stories and examples. Now, this is something else that people don't do. People love stories. Stories engage our emotions. The more our emotions are engaged, the more we retain and remember things, the more memorable you will be, and the more likely you are to be hired. So whenever the opportunity comes, and as much as possible, you want to give examples and tell stories. And here's a format that I'll suggest to you to tell a story. It's called STAR as the acronym. What was the situation? What was your task? What actions did you take? And what were the results? Now, later on in the presentation, we'll talk more about behavioral questions. Anytime you're asked a question, you want to tell a story or give an example. Anytime. So tell me about a time when you weren't getting along with a coworker, or tell me about a time when you had to work under a tight deadline. You want to tell a story. Remember we talked about you don't want to talk for more than 2 minutes? If you use this format, it will keep you on target, and it will be brief, and you won't meander and wander around. In your resume, if your resumes are written correctly, you'll have accomplishment stories or accomplishment titles in your resume. Each of those lines in your resume that has that accomplishment in it should have a STAR story behind it. The other thing is that if you tell a couple of these, by the second or third time you tell it, the interviewer's brain is set up to listen to this. It's like telling a joke. Boom, 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 punchline. Situation, task, action, boom, 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 results. And the results should have to be dramatic. Be prepared. We talked about that. And how do you prepare? You want to do company research. You want to know about the company. You want to know about the industry. You want to know about trends in the industry. Even look at the company. What's the company's 2 or 3 main competitors? Last time you went for an interview, could you tell who their competitors were? Could you say what the industry, where the industry's going, what the trends are in the industry? Because again, if you know what the trends are in the industry, like for example, one of the big trends in the grocery industry is store labels. I don't know if people are in the grocery industry, but store labels are absolutely killing off private labels or big company labels, right? So people are buying store brands. So if I'm going for a job in a grocery or food retailing, I need to figure out, I need to know about store brands, what percentage of the market, and what this company, that could be Heinz or Hershey's or whatever, what are they doing about store brands? I better know that stuff, right? Trends. And also know about the position as much as you can. Now, by the way, you can go out these days and you can find people that are doing the same position in other companies and talk to them. Or maybe even someone who did that exact same position at that company but is somewhere else. Find out about the position. Just a little bit of research. Okay. We're in a sales process, right? One of the mistakes that people make in interviews is they talk about their features. They don't talk about their benefits. So I have 12 years of experience selling computers. That's a feature. I have 6 years of experience doing accounting. That's a feature. What's the benefit if you hire me? I have 12 years of experience doing that. That means that I can get your pipeline up faster. I can make faster sales. I can connect you into networks and into prospects that you're not connected to. I can bring you into new territories. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. It's the benefit. Good salespeople will sell you on benefits. They don't sell you on features. If I'm going to sell you, if I'm a Volvo salesperson, right? Why do people buy Volvos? What's the number one reason? Safety, right? So Volvo has branded themselves as a safe car, right? So when you walk into a Volvo sales room, if I'm a lousy salesperson, I'm going to start to talk to you about the airbags and the steel side rails and the bumpers and the rollover protection. If I'm a good salesperson, I'm going to do what you're going to do in your interviews. I'm going to say to you, so, Eric, what brings you to Volvo today? Well, I have a 16-year-old kid. They're out to get their license. I'm concerned about their safety, and I want to buy them a car that I think is safe. Great, Mr. Kramer. That's wonderful. So let's talk about this car. And just imagine what it's going to be like sitting home on Saturday night and your 16-year-old's out driving. Just think about the peace of mind that you're going to have and the extra security that you're going to have as your kid's out there in a Volvo. So they're selling me on my benefit. Then they're going to tell me about the steel side rails and all that other stuff. The features. I mean, you want to talk about the features, but you want to sell on your benefits. The mistake people make in interviews is they talk about their features and then they sit back and let the interviewer try to guess at the benefits. Lay those benefits out. Here's what you get when you hire me.